Second down and 5, off the fake to Jamal Williams. Goff going deep, wide open, touchdown on his first.
Sports bets being in the mainstream to this extent is relatively new, as the big names such as Barstool Sportsbook, Underdog Fantasy, and DraftKings were all made within the last 15 years. But to see the impact it's had on sports media is insane. I challenge you at home to go watch ESPN or any other sports media and just simply count the amount of ads that are in that broadcast. Hell, I just want you to count how many times betting odds, betting lines, or even betting in general is mentioned in a 10-minute span. It's everywhere, and it's spread fast. So fast, in fact, that athletes and their associates are literally gambling away their futures. Which, when you really think about it, it's just plain dumb, right? Especially when these athletes are risking 7 to 8 figure salaries for these little side bets and parlays. But they're still doing it. And that's where sports betting in the limelight becomes a major issue. It weaponizes behavioral psychology in a manner that'll keep you coming back time and time again, no matter who you are. I'm here just to give you insight as to why a multi-million-dollar athlete will throw away their entire career for a sports bet, or maybe why your homie put down his entire rent on a 20-leg parlay Jesus Christ himself would like to witness. Let's talk about it. Sports betting has been around since like the 18th century, where back then, the most you could really do was bet on the fastest horses. Since then, sports betting has been fitted to work with every single sport you could imagine. If there was an option to bet on hopscotch, they would do it too. But as it stood in 2018, or at least in Michigan, sports betting was more low-key and taboo to talk about. The energy that sports betting had even 5 years ago felt like the Prohibition era, and you needed a really trusted bookie to make sure you had a secure bet. And because of that, there wasn't much word of sports betting in the mainstream. Well, with the exception of Uncut Gems, which unironically had the greatest Adam Sandler performance paired with the most authentic acting from an athlete.
How the fuck would you show me something if I couldn't have it?
Let's just look at mainstream sports from that year. 2018, we were blessed with the ass whooping that the peak Golden State Warriors gave the Cleveland Cavaliers that year. And from watching that broadcast, there were little to no mentions about sports betting at all. Not even a platform to place your bets onto, really. Sports media itself was focused on sports. I mean, who would have guessed that though, right? If you're just now getting into sports, the sports are now second to the commodification of sports. Although professional sports and the media surrounding it has always been a commodity, it has never been to this extent. What leads me to this thought is a moment in 2019 that did not actually involve sports, but was inspired by sports. Virtual basketball, an inspired entertainment product, shook the sports gaming world. Graphics, the overall appearance, the movement, all looked lifelike. It looked dynamic, and this truly was the dream that sports gamers were looking for. With products such as NBA 2K and Madden stagnating, this gave the average sports gamer the hope that the future of sports games would look this good. And the hype for this product was through the roof. Everybody took to social media to discuss how this could change sports gaming forever. But as time passed, people found out the truth of this virtual basketball product. Instead of this being in-game footage on a console, this is all a simulation built for sports betting platforms. They make it clear in their bio, saying that they have an expanding portfolio of content, technology, hardware, and services for regulated gaming, betting, lottery, social and leisure operators across retail and mobile channels across the world. If you could create a product that looks, feels, and sounds like its real-life counterpart, is the real-life counterpart needed anymore? Especially during 2020, when live sports were temporarily stopped, and some of these simulated sports were used in place. These virtual sports indirectly influence viewers to look at live sports as a dynamic slot machine. Today, sports and sports betting are synonymous. Look at any broadcast, sports analyst, commercial, or influencer. At some point, they will bring up sports betting. It is inescapable if you want to watch sports now. And simply having that in your mind is going to train you to simply be indifferent to these sports betting ads. Not to mention that sports betting is now socially acceptable. It's been legalized in my state at least, and it is now the most accessible it has ever been. You can download any of these sports betting apps on your phone and quickly forget you're risking your real, hard-earned money. Sports networks also see the appeal in sports betting, and in 2023, ESPN Bet was formed. This demonstrated that one of the largest sports networks now accepts sports betting and now wants to reap those rewards. These rewards come in the form of profits. ESPN Bet is an action-packed sportsbook loaded with exclusive odds boosts, custom offers, and a suite of cutting-edge features. Fast load times, secure transactions, and seamless navigation, ESPN Bet serves up the ultimate online sports wagering experience. That is what their website claims. ESPN is the world's leading multi-platform sports entertainment brand, and they are now making their mark into the sports betting world. And because of this, the sports media has to follow, which is why it is inevitable to see these sports betting ads littered all over sports. The most well-known sports personalities in Kevin Harlan, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman are all talking about sports betting on their platforms. The same personalities that you look to for analyzing games, free agency moves, and trades are now telling you the best odds for the best bets. That alone creates interest because the line between sports entertainment and sports betting have now been blurred. The definition of sports entertainment is already broad, so who's to say sports betting isn't sports entertainment? Texas Hold'em Poker is that combination between live sports and sports betting, and it has been since 2002. That alone cements sports betting in the same realm as sports entertainment. And sports betting isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Because of sports betting's presence in sports, the athletes want to see what all the hype's about too. When we think of professional athletes, it's real easy to forget that they are the 1% of the 1% to ever touch a field, ball, court, or track. These select few athletes have the opportunity to create generational wealth not only for themselves, but for their families. And some athletes take this opportunity for granted and will throw it all away for a $40 parlay. Don't believe me? Let's look at the MLB. Tucupita Marcano has been banned for life because he was caught for betting. His salary for that season was $746,000. That number alone could change anybody's life, and he risked $150,000 for his career. What makes this story much worse is that he's only 24. That's young as hell, man. He hasn't even hit his athletic prime, and he decided to throw it all away. All of those years working out and sacrificing for the chance to be pro, all wasted over something so pointless. He isn't the only one in the MLB either. Michael Kelly, Jose Rodriguez, and Andrew Saalfrank were all punished for sports betting as well. All elite level athletes foregoing millions of dollars for sports bets. What makes this more disappointing is that the MLB, in my opinion, has the least strain on the body. Outside of pitcher and catcher, any positional player can have a really long career so long as they stay injury free. And betting still seemed worth it to these four athletes. In the NFL, Jameson Williams was punished for sports betting in 2022. Being the 12th overall pick in the draft meant he finally achieved his dreams of going pro, and he was going to make a lot of money doing it. But even he almost risked his entire career over sports bets. And according to him, he wasn't aware of the rules in place on sports betting. As a Lions fan, I was pissed about this. Our premier rookie was suspended for over 6 games for a choice he did not have to make, especially when he said that he's not a gambler. Those 6 games that he was suspended could have put the Lions in a much better position, and maybe, just maybe, we could have went to the playoffs and won a game, which the Lions did in 2024, but it still took them 32 years to do that. Now, Jameson Williams being suspended for 6 games wasn't the reason why the Lions didn't make the playoffs in 2022, but as a former athlete, you really start to realize that those little mistakes really start to add up. But for him, this little mistake costed him over $383,000. That little mistake also costed him $6.8 million guaranteed, which means if the Lions decide to release and cut him, they don't have to pay him that $6.8 million anymore. It basically don't exist. All over a bet that wasn't worth it. Let's talk about some serious shit. Jontay Porter was a role player for the Toronto Raptors, but now he is currently facing jail time for wire fraud conspiracy. To run an entire gambling ring instead of just sitting on the bench and being a role player shows that sports betting is a much bigger problem, not only for the viewers, but for the athletes as well. But let's keep talking on how crazy this Jontay case is. He pled guilty to tipping off 2 gamblers on 2 separate occasions. First one happened on January 26th, where he left the game due to an injury, and on March 20th, when he left the game against the Sacramento Kings, claiming that he had an illness. And in the 2 games that he left early, Muhammad Malah, Tiffany McCormack, Amar Amwadwe, and Long Fee Pham decided to place big ass bets on Jontay Porter's underline. The NBA banned that man swiftly in April. The moment he was banned, he texted in the group chat with the 4 gamblers might just get hit with that RICO. And I just want you to guess how much these bets went for. 10,000? 100,000? No, fuck that. These bets totaled over $1 million. Now, looking at Jontay Porter's salary for the past 3 years, he did not need that money. Jontay Porter was making over $2 million. He didn't even need to make a sports bet, let alone run an entire sports gambling ring. He probably would have made more money if he, I don't know, focused on being a better athlete rather than betting on it. And now, over money he could have been easily making on the bench, he is now facing 4 years of federal prison. To see athletes ready to risk their 7- and 8-figure salaries over insignificant bets is honestly terrifying. These athletes, at least financially, have it all. Whatever they could possibly want, they can buy comfortably, but they still find it worth it to risk their careers over sports bets. But not only the athletes, normal people are now becoming career gamblers because of how in-your-face sports betting is. Literally this week, I witnessed sports betting odds on the Home Run Derby, also provided by ESPN Bet, funny enough. This exposure makes sports betting normal for all audiences. Because sports betting is becoming normalized, I want to take a look at the psychology behind what makes it popular and show its impacts on society. But before I do that, I need a favor from y'all. Go onto Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and tell me how many times you see a story about a sports bet. After you do that, drop it in the comments, thanks. But one of the biggest reasons why sports betting is talked about so normally is because the stigma against it has decreased significantly. Sports betting is similar to alcohol. One sports bet won't hurt you. And for a lot of the betting platforms, they usually give you a low risk first bet just to test the waters. But this no risk free bet is a domino effect into the gambler's fallacy. The gambler's fallacy is a belief that the likelihood of an event happening is influenced by previous instances of the same event. To break this down, let's take a coin flip. If you flip heads 3 times in a row, that 4th time is not more likely to be tails. Probability is still 50-50. For sports betting, the gambler's fallacy is in full effect. Yes, you can know the stats of a player, but that doesn't guarantee that's gonna happen every single time. But it's not a guaranteed lock, as the sports betting community says. Where the gambler's fallacy really has an effect is parlays, in my opinion. Every leg in a parlay has to hit in order for it to cash out, and people think they can use their sports knowledge to game this type of bet. But all of those legs in that bet are very much so random. Nothing about those are certain, which is why it hurts so damn bad when you're one leg short on cashing out, especially when you expected that one leg to hit. Because only one leg missed, people are a lot more inclined to run it back because they're sure that leg is gonna hit in the future. Then the vicious cycle of bet, lose happens, and then they blew their entire savings on FanDuel. And I bet if I could find that person that blew their savings and gave them $20, they would do it again. And the sports betting apps heavily engage with this, because the more you are engaged with this app, the more money they're gonna spend and the more profit they make. Something else that's become a problem in sports betting is how athletes are looked at nowadays. I've mentioned it a couple times, but athletes really aren't looked at to be human beings anymore. Last year, Kevin Durant shined a light on this with one of his tweets saying, "When I get you paid, you don't DM me and send a small percentage to my Cash App, but when the parlays don't hit, I'm every name in the book. Y'all ain't real." This tweet was in response to a fan blaming KD for his parlay not hitting. Instead of charging it to the game, they tried to charge it to these athletes, who in all honesty can't guarantee they're going to play their best in any given night. KD was not the only athlete to receive this hate, however. A fan decided to cuss out Bradley Beal because of his parlay not hitting. The fan said, "You fucked me out of $1,300, you fuck." Bradley Beal then responded back to this fan and then promptly smacked his hat off of his head. This shows how some of the viewers of sports look at these athletes as vehicles of profit instead of the entertainment that they already should be. This all has to do with the accessibility of sports betting. People feel entitled to talk shit to these athletes, but forget their actions have consequences. This fan learned their consequence quickly. Sports should be for entertainment and not a quick buck. And seeing sports betting turning fans into career gamblers off the mere exposure of it makes the future of sports look real bleak. I'll be honest, I don't sports bet. I also don't have an issue if you want to sports bet yourself. As long as it's done responsibly, it won't do you any harm. The industry of sports betting is the issue. These sports betting platforms implementing tactics to keep their users hooked is doing damage to all sports. And sports betting needs to be taken down a notch. This has to change if you want to get back to a place of respecting sports, rather than thinking how 4 rebounds can make you $17. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like on the video, man, and push your boy in the algorithm so everybody can see your boy, Bass Dom. Yes, sir, man. Leave a comment. How many people do you know get into sports betting, or do you get into sports betting yourself? Do you see sports betting becoming a problem for yourself and your community, or am I just blowing this out of proportion? Let me know in your comments. Let's have a dialogue. And subscribe, man. All the support, all the like, all the comments that I get on all the videos that I do, I very much so appreciate y'all, because man, y'all are just a special bunch. Y'all really make this whole YouTube thing fun, man. I appreciate all my subscribers, both old and new, because you make my dreams of being a content creator realer and realer every day, and I love you, man. Yes, sir. If you want to follow my Instagram, that's down in the description. If you want to join my public Discord, that is down in the description as well. Yeah, man. It's been Bass Dom, people. Deuces.